Let's get to it. Let's kick off the show the same way Matthew Stafford kicked Ndamukong Suh with news coming out of Denver. According to the folks at NFL Media, Nathaniel Hackett finalizing a deal with the Denver Broncos to become the team's next head coach. He was supposed to have a second interview with the Jaguars today. Nothing like that to spur action elsewhere to make him the coach of the Broncos. And to me, far more significant than Nathaniel Hackett being the coach of the Broncos, which is indeed a significant achievement in the life of Nathaniel Hackett, is the fact that it is going to spark
no doubt
days, weeks, until it happens or it doesn't happen, speculation that Aaron Rodgers is going to be smoking some of the legal stuff in Colorado.
Yeah, I know. I mean, it's hard not to think about the connection right off the bat. I mean, of course, hey, I want to give Nate Hackett, some credit here. He's a damn good football coach. You know I know him. His father was my quarterback coach. I thought he was really one of the best coaches I ever had in my NFL career or college. Either way, they got a great way about them, the Hackett family. Nathaniel's a really brilliant football mind. He's been around a lot of good football people. He understands what it takes. Had a little different, coaching trees too. So he's not just like, narrow vision. This is the way it's done. He's seen the Doug Marones and that style of football to go, wait, I can implement this, into my system one day. As I've always talked about, I think he understands offensive football in a big way. That's where I'm excited for the Denver Broncos because they have so much potential on that side of the ball. The other thing where I just look at it and go great hire, you got a guy who's as even-keeled and as good as it gets, and you talk about communicating and relationships. There's nobody better than Nathaniel Hackett. And then I think on top of that, too, when you look at Denver specifically, you go, well, wait, back to kind of what you're saying. They got a quarterback issue, and this guy could possibly maybe bring Aaron Rodgers here because we know Aaron Rodgers really likes Nathaniel Hackett, or at the very least, been around a lot of guys and groomed some quarterbacks to where you go, hey, I trust this guy. We need a quarterback in the draft or someone to pick out in free agency, and maybe we don't get the star we want, whoever that may be. This is a guy that I would put in that small handful of people in the NFL that's got a good eye for it and then understands how to go, wait, this is what the guy does, and I can formulate an offense around him that makes sense for him and us and everything that way. That's where I love the hire for Nathaniel Hackett. I'm really happy for him. I really am.
And you know how the game goes. You know how life goes. Just like we spent 10 minutes screwing around talking about things completely unrelated to what we're supposed to be talking about, Nathaniel Hackett and Aaron Rodgers in a room together somewhere, musing about their respective futures.
Yeah,
at some point,
right.
There's an intersection. At some point, there's a conversation. At some point, there's a hypothetical, joking around or not really joking around. And, yeah, hey, Nathaniel, well, depending upon where you end up next year, maybe there's a way that, we'll be together again somewhere, maybe in a place where they thought I was going to be this year. How much time together during the course of a 6-month football season does it take to get to that conversation? Not too much time, I would think.
No, not too much time at all. And, the point you always bring up, Mike, too, is these are conversations I would not be shocked if the agents had behind the scenes a little, too. Hey, the passing conversation, what Aaron's thoughts. Oh, he's not totally sold on Green Bay and going to be back. We're not 100% sure about that. We know the place you're going is certainly on the radar. So I would think there's something there. I don't deny that. I got to think there's something there as far as, again, just a possibility. Denver probably likes that aspect. And this is, again, I think a guy it's really qualified for the job in a lot of different ways. Mike, he was a guy that I was afraid might not ever get a job just because he's not a political animal. Right? He's not going to stay in contact with people in the media. He's not going to make calls to try to, show his side of the story or show his resume so people will talk about him more or, call other teams for jobs. This is, a really stand-up human being that I wondered at a time where I just went, Man, is he too good for the NFL to where maybe some coach, some owner or whatever won't like it because he's just not going to be political enough to get his name out there and get the train rolling for hype, which we know you need in this type of situation. So that's another area where I'm really glad to see it. I am. And I think it's a perfect hire for this football team. Their defense has got a lot of things in place. We talked about it a lot last year. There's a lot of talent there. It's all about the offense, and this guy's been a part of some really good offenses. And, of course, the last few years with Rodgers and the play that's improved from, his side of the ball, learning from Matt LaFleur, who has so many of the Shanahan tricks and things in his offense. But I do think there's something to Rodgers' best play being around Nathaniel Hackett, too. Hackett's got a way of explaining the game in a simple way to where he can break it down and be like, hey, Aaron, on this play, just read this guy. And when you drop back and play action pass, if he goes this way, he can simplify it for the quarterback in their mind. That's the one thing that I always appreciate about Nathaniel Hackett. And his dad was very similar that way, too. And I think that goes a long way for quarterbacks and offense to get on the same page and be successful.
And, some folks may be wondering, well, what would the difference be if he was working the angles to try to get himself into this mainstream conversation? Think of it this way. When you watch football games, and this will be relevant, obviously, come the 2022 football season, and it may be relevant this weekend as well, certain guys get mentioned by the broadcasters over and over again as future head coaches. Certain guys do, certain guys don't.
Yes.
And that's not just happening spontaneously.
No,
that's
it's
the
not.
product of those people being worked
right
behind the scenes by the coaches, by agents, by others. That's how it happens. That's how that agenda gets set. It just doesn't pop out of the ground. So you're right. Think of how many Packers games are on national TV, and think of how many times that anyone has even breathed a word of Nathaniel Hackett being a head coaching candidate.
Yeah, no, exactly right. I think that's the point you look at. He's just the ultimate good soldier that way. And he's not going to, ruffle feathers or try to throw himself out there. He really is a guy of let my actions, do the talking. And I respect that because, as you said, there's just not that many guys out there like that in the NFL right now. There is a lot of politicking to get to. Let me get up there. Let me talk to this guy who announces the game and, let him know that I am looking for a job. And I appreciate how good he is at his job. And, hey, yeah, any help you can give me just to give me a little love and, boost my profile definitely goes on 100%. But did not go on with this guy. I know that. And it's a thing, like I said, that I worried about, that I just was always like, man, he might need to get his name out there a little bit more and be a little bit more aggressive. That's not in his nature, but I'm glad the Broncos were able to see, the real picture there, and that there's a guy here that's not into the BS of the NFL football world, and he's really all about coaching and relationships and building a team, and I think that's where it's going to be really good for the Denver Broncos.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.